Welcome back, everybody. All right, so let's go ahead and let's start and take a look at what we're going to do in this tutorial series. One thing that you should do is if you haven't taken the 1 hour Blender series, I should suggest you do that first. And if you don't know how to use Blender, there's going to be a lot of things that I'm doing in here that I'm not going to explain for the beginners level. So go ahead and do that first. If you haven't done that first, that's okay. So what we're going to do is we are going to model the kitchen sink because this course has everything including the kitchen sink. So how do we do that? Well, it's actually not too difficult, believe it or not. Now in Blender, we start off with a primitive, and a primitive is this cube here. If we go to the create, you can see there's all these other options here too. So we're going to start off with a primitive, and then we move on from there. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to scale this along the y-axis just a bit. Okay, and we're just going to simply make a string, a kitchen sink in here. Let's tab into edit mode and let's go to face select mode, and what we're going to be doing is let's go back to tools, and I'm actually going to delete this here. Now, one of the things that I like to talk about is how useful these objects are going to be. A lot of these tutorials online, they definitely focus on making whatever you're doing look really, really good. And I also like making things look really, really good, but you have to be able to use it practically. If you're into game design or into movies or into anything, you want to make sure that what you're doing here is usable in some way, shape, or form. Now, having said that, you also want to make sure that you are playing around, because that is also important too. So what we're going to be doing here is we are simply going to be adding in the sink here. But before we do that, I'm just going to add in the back of the sink. So I'm going to right click here and I'm going to extrude just like that. All right, and so that gives us kind of the back where the sink will go. Now let's hop back into edge select, push alt right mouse button to select that edge, and then I'm going to push E to extrude, scale that in. Okay, and that's pretty much all we're going to do. We're going to push E to extrude, and then we're going to simply put that down like that. And you can see, I'm just going to push face, and there we go. We kind of have a kitchen sink type situation here. Let's hop back into edge select here, and I'm going to simply extrude this up top here. And pretty much this is a decently good kitchen sink. If we really wanted to, we could select both of these two. We can scale these along the y-axis to give it kind of more of a you can give it more of a feel there. Now, what we can also do is if we really want to, we could move this farther like this and we'd have a whole sink. But really I just want like a simple kitchen sink. We will deal with the faucet because in another tutorial, but for the most part we have this in here. Now, one of the things I like to do is make sure that all my objects look great for game design, and this would be an acceptable game design here. And if you really wanted to, you can go and you could put in a cylinder here, and what I'll actually do is I'll tab in object mode. We'll add in a cylinder here, and we'll just simply change that down to 32 vertices, and that is of course how that is the amount of sides it has, because remember in Blender you don't ever have a curved line, you have a bunch of flat vertices, and the more vertices you add, the more faces you add, the smoother it will get. So I'm going to scale this down, and I'm going to push 7 to hop this up to the top here, and I'm just going to simply kind of move this somewhere in the center like that, and I think that should work, something like that there. And we can push 3 if we want, and we can just simply bring that down, something more like this, and we'll just bring that up. There we go, and that could be like the little drain or whatnot. All right, and so here we go. That is a simple kitchen sink. We're going to talk a little bit more about this in the next tutorial. I'll see you guys then.